Hello and welcome. Thank you for coming along on my journey. This is Moster Does the Crossword, and I am Moster. Today we will be discussing the New York Times crossword for Saturday, August 7th. So the way this thing works very quickly, we've got this part of me talking, then we've got a really long part of me talking where you actually watch, or if you're listening, listen to me solving the puzzle. I'm starting to call out numbers to make it easier for people who listen, but I'm not all the way there yet. Anyway, after that, there is a review section that talks about the puzzle itself, talks about how I think I did on the puzzle, and really gets into some areas where I think people might have difficulty. Definitely, I talk about areas that really snagged me. This one in particular, similar but not the same problem as yesterday. There was definitely one piece of information that I needed to get from an outside source, which was a star of the Real Housewives, which I got from my woman, and I am not at all disappointed that I didn't know that one. A couple of other areas where it was just me, again, trying to think about all the different things that a word can mean. Think about tenses, think about inflections, all that kind of stuff. Say it out loud to yourself. You know, even when I'm doing this, there's a difference between talking along and sitting there and reading it and saying your answer and spelling your answer. And sometimes, especially for me, that helps a lot. This was one of those times. It's another reason why this is a pretty long one. That's pretty much the end of the intro. So enjoy whichever path you choose to take if you so choose. Thank you again for coming along, and I wish you a peaceful journey. Okay, review time. This is your final spoiler warning. I'll start here. I have a ton of screenshots. I like this one. I didn't particularly like the fucking Spanish because I always hate when they do things like that. And it's one of the reasons why I give myself so much latitude. In general, this is an interesting one for a Saturday because I don't think there's a lot of IGH, but I don't think it really counts as a theme because there's no relationship between lightweight and nighty night except for the fact that they have, a TY at the end of the words. So that's a little bit different. I'm going to do the screenshots, and then if there's anything else that I can think of that I didn't capture, I'll talk about that too, but there's a ton of screenshots. And I've decided to do it from the beginning, so you'll definitely see some areas where answers evolved as we went through the process. Okay. Liger is the first photo that I took because it reminds me of, among many other things, Napoleon Dynamite, which is actually a funny movie. Other stuff in here that might have difficulty for people. The superhero one, 20 down, was mighty. I thought I took more pictures before this, but oh well. So yes, this is one of the ones where I knew it was right. Eventually, I actually did go and fucking delete it. But yes, Sauron is the Dark Lord of Mordor. There is no other character or person who could ever have been considered to be the Dark Lord of Mordor, and I only deleted it before out of a desperate attempt to figure the thing out because I had trouble in both the bottom corners. Insole, again, I don't remember if that's where we ended up. No, that's the thing. Yes, Insole is where we ended up. Okay. Anyway, there's a lot of crap here. Right, so we just talked about Sauron, Insole. Segway's wrong, but I like it. It ended up being Skyway, I think. We'll see later on. It was a late one. But, Segway's kind of one of my favorite words, etc., etc. And where are we now? Brings home, bats in. I thought I got this before, but they do things like this. It's a sports stat kind of a question. And I think that's cool because it's definitely not the way I normally think about things, but it is the sort of thing that you could see somebody using idiomatically. Here I have typist, which took me too long, and I probably took it out and put it back in, and took it out and put it back in, but it's typist. I'm a typist, so I should know that. That's 17 across, by the way. One with key responsibilities. Okay, no need to worry. 5 down, it's all right. I think I was trying to do it's all good, ALLGOOD, but rugs is definitely right for Afghans. And I think there's a picture of that somewhere too. Oh, look, there's a picture of rugs for Afghans because I figured these two things out at the same time, and an Afghan is a type of rug. Okie dokie, period immediately following Y2K. Yeah, aughts, right. One of these things that could have been a few different things, but that's cool. USSR, this one took me, frankly, too long to get USSR for raising a major red flag, but that's what it is, and that's 39 across. And Einstein, yes, 22 down. Who said the greatest scientist or artist as well? Einstein. Maybe I should have known it sooner. I also maybe should have known sooner that it's IE, not EI at the end of his name, because that certainly played a part in my travails on the lower left side of this board. Similarly here, I put stairs. Didn't end up being stairs. I'm back to 38 down. I was suspect of this one because stairs isn't a passage. A stairway is a passage, but it fit, and I was already 30 minutes in, so I was kind of a little bit spaghetti against the wall. But then this one bided one's time. I went back and forth on this for a while before I got sat tight, as in waited, yes. And similarly, bit of deception, sleight. This is like sleight of hand, like a card trick, that kind of thing, or a similar very, very short con kind of an exercise. Would you look at that as a site? This one I probably should have gotten sooner, and this is a good note for people. If it says it like that without quotes, it's the definition. It's saying it to you. Would you, or really, you would look at that, right? Or that kind of a thing. And high income, which was wrong here for 29 down, ended up being high salary. Yeah, but income fit, and I was proud of it. And again, there's that Spanish that I never know what the fuck it's supposed to be. And then here was the first one of these that this is where I wanted to talk about. It was when I got all three of them. The lightweight, 88, 90 night. Again, it's not a theme. It's, I said once, being fairly snooty, more of a milieu. But I think that's fair here, because you've got all these things that are very, very similar, that are represented by kind of superficial characteristics, and there's no real connectivity between the answers or the clues other than the shape of the words. And I think that that is a good way to use a Saturday puzzle for both fun and education. That's, I don't know what that, oh, that's when I stopped recording for the first time. So now we're back in the second section where I stuck high salary in, and it's another one that came out and went back a bunch of times. Yeah. What's up with that? Is that a video too? Yeah, that's a video too, so we'll move on. Okay. That's also a video. Right. It would be, because that's how I do this sometimes. So, leaks of the Real Housewives. You can see up at the top that I'm at the 1 hour and 10 minute mark. I had been yelling at this thing and at me for a long time. I went down to participate in the family and asked Leela, and she gave me the leg up that it's nay. I never would have gotten that. So there you go. Call that what you will in terms of if I'm the one who solved the puzzle. But that did a very good job of cleaning up this whole section for me with the NO. I got steno in here, and I'm very, very confident that they used steno very, very recently, or stenographer or something. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, there's a bit of a jump here in terms of screenshots, but you can kind of see here pretty quickly. I got steno. You know what? I'll talk about this when I get to the actual, back to the puzzle, because we've only got a few more of these. Home to the world's largest steel arch bridge is Sydney Harbor. I got it pretty well once I got the YDN. I got bored was a big one. Is bored here? No. Bored got me a lot because it's tired, I think. Or we'll get there in a second. But I couldn't figure out how to make that work in 5 letters. But once I put the D there next to the N for Sauron, and I was going back and forth with that Y, that's how I ended up making my way over to Sydney. And then, now we're in a little bit to the typo checking here. Mulch for bed cover means that those 2 pieces of art are Monets. They're not sonnets, which is one of the things that I was trying to squeeze in there. When I got that U, I had quilt over here for mulch at one point because of the U and the L. And then I was trying to make that Q work with whatever was going across. So again, a lot of little tricksy things, a lot of things where there are multiple answers that fit the first time around, and a lot of things that really get to me specifically. Spot for some piercings here, areola, nipple, yes, I did have one, yes, it is gone, yes, I miss it occasionally. And now we get, this is the video. All right, so let's go back to the puzzle here. What else do I want to talk? I want to talk about creative portion of an ad agency's budget. This is another one where, like, in different points in the puzzle, like I had an E over here, so I thought it was like something having to do with ad impressions or error time or anything like that. Heineken was another one, brand with a red star on its logo that I just figured out on the crosses, as I kind of did with Hess and Pfeffer. As I got the S and the W, I kind of figured out that it had to be stew, and that's what pushed through to get creative and Heineken. DNA Bank is an interesting one. I know it's a thing. It's just really, really uncommon. I'd never heard of it before. Doesn't make a difference in terms of bad or good. Anything else that I didn't talk about really in the review? No Siree is one that I went back and forth on a bunch of times to mean because I think of that as a little bit more emphatic than Anywho, I don't know if we talked about, I had this as anyhow for a very long time. And I think really then Lorelei, fit with anywho, but then it was Eos because very near the end I was like, that's stupid. It's not EWS, it's EOS. For the goddess who's also, or whatever, doesn't matter, who's also a camera. Moses, this is a good one for biblical people. He parted the Red Sea, so there's your pun there. Talked about this at length. Talked about USSR. Lit is one that I went back and forth with for awesome because it could be so many things. And no bueno got me for a long time too, to mean lousy. First I thought maybe it was in Spanish, and then I don't know what I thought. Regardless, that's what it is. It's lousy. Here's one to note for people who haven't done this very much. In the brackets, that means that they're looking for something like a sigh or like, something onomatopoetic as opposed to whatever else. So, I think I'm going to stop it here. It was a pretty long one for a review, but again, it was a good, solid Saturday puzzle. If I wanted to compare the difficulty between yesterday and today, I don't know. They're pretty close. I definitely liked yesterday's more, but this one was still a very good puzzle. And I hope that you also found some satisfaction in doing it, or maybe got out of a couple of jams with this, etc. I will therefore leave you here, ask you if you are so inclined to comment or like or share so that I can make this the best thing we can for everybody. And so with that, once again, I will wish you a peaceful journey.